Hi, everybody. I know it's been a while. It's been about a week, but I've been busy with work and all that. But yeah, I'm actually back to do another movie review, and this time I'm going to review a movie that I actually got recommended by a friend to see, and this is actually the second time I've seen it. The first time I saw it, didn't really care for it much, but the second time I saw it, it actually was pretty entertaining. And this time I'm going to review Hudson Hawk. Hudson Hawk is a action adventure crime caper thriller that came back in 1991 by director Michael Lemmon, and it stars Bruce Willis. I don't know why, I just got to admire this cover art here for the movie, which is, that kind of reminds me of Darkman a little bit, with one scene, particular scene, a little bit of Batman, but all right. Uh, yeah, the plot of the movie is kind of hard to talk about since this movie literally is all over the place. So I'm just going to read the back here of the Blu-ray cover. So yeah, Bruce Willis plays Eddie the Hawk Hawkins, world's most famous cat burglar, who after 10 years in prison is ready to go straight. Basically, meaning he's willing to turn away from a life of crime and ultimately try to live a normal life. But it's not going to be easy for the Hawk. The mob and the CIA have conspired to blackmail Eddie and his partner, played by actor Danny Aiello. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong. Into stealing 3 Da Vinci masterpieces from the most heavily guarded museums in the world. To him, do you think it sounds simple? Yeah, not really. While trying to steal the goods, Hawk falls in love with a beautiful but schizophrenic nun, played by actress Andie MacDowell, and is relentlessly pursued by the greedy and powerful Mayflowers, Darwin and Minerva, played by Richard E. Grant and Sandra Bernhard, who actually is a stand-up comedian. Richard E. Grant had been in a few movies. He had been in films like Warlock, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and had a voice acting in Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, who want the masterpieces as part of their twisted plot to ruin the world's economy. Basically, the works of art have these like little diamond crystal things in them. That is a device that Leonardo da Vinci created years ago, centuries ago, where he was able to turn regular metals into solid gold, apparently. Yeah, it's yeah. Michael Lemmon, of course, the film's director, is obviously the other movie he's best known for is the 80s black comedy Heathers with Christian Slater and Winona Ryder, which actually is a fun little 80s romp of a movie that got a huge cult following in the years that followed, and it even spawned a musical, believe it or not. Yeah, it actually has a pretty rock-solid cast. Even James Coburn, David Caruso from films like, Jade, and even appeared in First Blood, the first Rambo movie. That was actually one of the first movies he appeared in. And Frank Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's brother, has a brief appearance as a member of the Mafia gang. Needless to say, this movie is all over the place. It is everywhere. And this movie has so much packed into it, it's ridiculous. This movie, at the time when the film came out, the critics just couldn't make it up what they want the film to be. The movie was like part action, part tried to take itself seriously action, and literally just slapstick humor on par with like the Three Stooges. Literally. There's even action set pieces that look like they come out of a Three Stooges segment. Like Bruce Willis's character on a gurney being wheeled out in the middle of of a busy highway, and it's like, oh, any moment he's going to crash into something. And throughout the whole movie, he's trying to get his hands, all he wants to do is drink a cappuccino. And every time he tries to drink one, something goes horribly wrong. Whether the cup that the cappuccino he is in is either blown away by a gun, or he drinks it and it's not what it appears to be. There's even one occasion where he drinks it and it turns out to be poisoned. Or he drinks it and it's not the right combination he wants. He just wants that perfect cappuccino. It's like a running gag that occurs throughout the entire film. And there's also a couple of instances where his partner's like, you want to play some Nintendo? And at the end, he says to Andie MacDowell, I would love to play Nintendo with you, which is funny because Hudson Hawk actually had a video game adaptation made based on the movie on the NES. I don't know if it was more successful than the movie was. I'm not sure. The movie, unfortunately, was not a big hit. Well, yeah, unfortunately, when it debuted in 1991, and of course, Bruce Willis at the time still had the star power thanks to the fact that this movie came out. He did Die Hard 2 the year before Hudson Hawk, so naturally, you'd think that with this movie, it would actually draw in some box office power. It did, and it didn't, unfortunately. The movie debuted and it had a budget of $65 million, which at the time was a pretty hefty budget for an action movie of its kind. But unfortunately, in the States, it flopped. It only grossed a mere $17 million domestically, but worldwide, it did prove to be more successful. Made somewhere around $80 million worldwide, so its overall worldwide box office total goes to $97 million, which, yeah, did surpass its budget. So the movie did prove to be a profitable hit worldwide overall. So, but unfortunately, it was not exactly met with the best of critical reception. Currently, it has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, and but when the movie first came, now of course today more and more people are actually starting to become more fond of the movie. But back when it first came out, oh geez, this movie was just ripped apart by critics. I mean, most critics didn't know what to make of the movie. They thought it was just a mindless action comedy, and of course at the time when action and comedy most of the time didn't really go so well together. But there are a few occasions, obviously parodies. I'm talking, like Airplane, Naked Gun. But yeah, I mean, action comedies like parodies, and of course, yeah, well, of course, Lethal Weapon. I mean, Lethal Weapon was kind of a part action, part comedy. But the action parts did take themselves seriously. Sorry. And the action parts in this movie, when the comedy sets in, didn't exactly take itself seriously. But at the same time, this is a movie you just want to crack up and laugh at. And it has some, yes, over-the-top, goofy dialogue. And yes, some of the acting moments in the movie are kind of way over the top. But for the most part, this is just one movie that, even though it's considered, by critics to be one of the worst of its kind, but this movie is just nonstop excitement from beginning to end. There's really not one dull moment in this entire film. I mean, this movie just, it always keeps your attention going. That's the one thing I will have to say. I remember watching James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd. He made a video of what is the worst movie of all time, and he actually says that the worst movie of all time has to be a movie that is literally devoid of any entertainment whatsoever. And this movie is full of it. This movie is full of entertainment. It has lots of it. Some of the action moments are fun, but the setups, the comedic humor, I mean, it's loaded with it. And there's even a moment in the movie where I laughed so hard I literally had to rewind to watch it again because that's how funny it was. And I'll just simply say it. Oh, buddy! Bubble! And it is kind of funny to watch Andy McDowell use the famous line, "I must speak with the dolphins." I'm sorry. It is kind of funny. No doubt, it's funny as all hell to watch that. There's even some things in the movie I actually kind of enjoy. I didn't get at first, but when Eddie and his partner are having discussions with song times, like one of them says 6 minutes 9 seconds, and he mentions a song title, and I'm like, you think I remember a song and I remember the guy or the artist that performs it, but you think I'm going to remember the song's runtime? I mean, that's pretty insane, to be honest. But then again, I do remember movie runtime, so maybe I'm insane too. Unfortunately, the film did get nominated at the Razzies. It picked up 6 nominations, I believe. It ended up winning for Worst Screenplay for Bruce Willis, Steven D'Souza, who actually was the screenwriter for Die Hard, believe it or not. By the way, I looked up Bruce Willis's filmography. This is the one and only film where not only did he act in the movie, but he also had a hand in the story. And ever since, he unfortunately has never done another movie where he had involvement with the story or screenplay, as far as I know. But yeah, the screenplay won. Michael Lemmon took Worst Director, and the film was voted Worst Picture of the Year of 1992. And honestly, some of the films I look back on at the Razzies, I'm like, really? This movie won Worst Picture? I actually watch it now, and I'm thinking, you know what? This movie actually is pretty. This actually is a lot of fun. I mean, I think it's one of those movies like Howard the Duck, for example, another film that won the Razzie for Worst Picture, but yet I can't bring myself to hate the movie because of how much I love it. Yes, I'll eventually get to doing Howard the Duck eventually, but. So let's talk about the Blu-ray I have here. This Blu-ray release is by Kino Lorber, which this is kind of odd. You know, Hudson Hawk on Blu-ray by Kino. Well, it was originally released on Blu-ray by Mill Creek, but that version didn't have any bonus features like the DVD had. The DVD was originally released by Sony, but ultimately now Kino has decided to release their version. So yeah, cover sleeve, obviously. I used to throw these away all the time, but now I actually keep them because, you know, for fun reason. So here's the Blu-ray. Side, here's the regular Blu-ray. Of course, this is the typical disc art for most Kino releases, which is it's pretty normal. There's the this has a reversible cover sleeve, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's the actual poster art for the movie. It might be, but I don't know. I kind of like this version better because it kind of hypes up the movie a lot more for some strange reason. I think this was the actual poster art that they used to try to hype up the movie, but it did work to some degree, no doubt worldwide. I don't know about here in the States, unfortunately. As for the video on the disc, honestly, Hudson Hawk actually looks pretty good in high def. I'm impressed. I mean, it looks fairly decent. I mean, the last time I ever saw the movie in its entirety was on VHS, but first time seeing it, never on DVD, but on Blu-ray, honestly, it looks pretty good. A lot of detail, and honestly, I mean, for the most part, I mean, Kino, yeah, some of their discs are kind of hit or miss. Some of them look really good, and there are some where you know they could have done a better job. And this one is kind of in the middle. I would say for the video, out of 5 stars, I would say 3.5 out of 5. It looks good, but there are some parts of the film that could look better. But overall, it's a pretty solid transfer. As for the audio, honestly, it sounds pretty good. The audio actually sounds really good. Yeah, the movie is presented in 1.8.5. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the Kino Blu-rays don't have the technical details on the back of the Kino discs are kind of iffy though. I'm trying to find there's DTS, so obviously it's a DTS track, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really say if it's 5.1 or 2.0. It doesn't say it though. Normally it should, but fortunately it doesn't. I don't know why. But the audio track on the disc actually sounds really good. It sounds really good. The explosions, the dialogue, all come out very well. And honestly, I'm impressed. It's definitely a top-notch track. I would say out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it a solid 5. That's how good it sounds. As for the bonus features, believe it or not, Kino has managed to rack up a decent amount of material here. Most of the stuff actually did come from a few of these things did come from the Sony DVD, and a lot of stuff here is actually brand new. You got an audio commentary with the film's director, Michael Lemmon, and he seems to have a good bit of remembrance on the movie, and he looks back on it pretty fondly. Story of Hudson Hawk featurette. It's basically an interview with Bruce Willis and one of the screenwriters who both look back on the movie, and then Bruce Willis seems to be pretty fond of the movie himself, as he looks back on the film with great fondness. Fondly and fondness, I know, both in the same sentence. My Journey to Minerva, it's an interview with actress Sandra Bernhard as she looks back on playing the character Minerva Mayflower. She really was one of the highlights of the movie. Definitely delivered one of the goofiest performances in the entire film, but either way, she definitely left a lasting impression. The Hudson Hawk theme by Dr. John, music video. Which, by the way, Bruce Willis actually wrote, I believe, the theme song. Hard to believe. Well, Bruce Willis he actually performed music himself. He actually did put out a couple of albums in his past before he turned to acting. There's also deleted material and the film's theatrical trailer, so it's actually not a bad batch of bonus features to look at. I would say out of 5 stars, I'd probably give the bonuses probably a 3.5 out of 5. As for the movie itself, out of 5 stars, I am probably going to have to settle with maybe a 3.5 out of 5. I will say, the first time I saw Hudson Hawk, didn't really care for it much at first, but the more I watched it the second time, I actually enjoyed the movie more. Because, yeah, my buddy's like, he's like, you need to check this movie out. It's actually fun, and I decided to give him decided to check it out for myself, and honestly, Will, you really definitely caught me on with another movie, because this movie definitely caught my attention. It's a lot of fun. There are a lot of goofy and stupid moments, but for the most part, this is a rock-solid, entertaining movie. A lot of fun. And honestly, it definitely deserves more. Definitely deserves way more than it got. And honestly, worst picture of '91. Yeah, this movie is far from that. Like I said, it's got to be a movie that's devoid of any entertainment. And honestly, Hudson Hawk is full of entertainment. I would say out of 5 stars for the movie itself, I'd probably give the movie maybe a 3.5. It's actually a lot of fun. Definitely recommended. Like I said, for most of you that want to get your hands on the best Blu-ray release of the film, the Kino version is no doubt the best one to go for. Probably get it for maybe 16 or 17 bucks on Amazon brand new, since this is a brand new release. It just came out last year, 2022, yeah, so. Honestly, yeah, like I said, it's actually a fun movie, a lot of kooky and funny moments, but for the most part, it's an entertaining film. It's actually got a lot of entertainment in it, and that's the one thing that matters. So, overall, I would say I recommend it. So, this concludes the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will continue to do more videos in the days to come. So until then, take care and be safe. Oh, buddy! Bobo!